Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Our guest today is Mr. Luca Fortis. He is a cultural journalist from Italy. And apart from Italy, he has worked in Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Iran, and he's been a frequent traveler to Pakistan also. In addition to his own work, he has worked with NGOs and social projects for the welfare of immigrants, prisoners, juvenile prisoners, and he has worked for the welfare of Roma people in their camps. So that is a very nice work, and interestingly, he is a multilingual person, speaks fluent Italian, of course, and then French, English, and he's now learning, formally he's learning Farsi and Urdu, both. He is originally from Milan.
Yeah, Rome and Milan together. Kind
of. Yeah, Rome and Milan, okay. These are like big cities in the north of Italy. But he has chosen to live in Naples, Napoli, as they say in Italian, which is a city surrounded by volcanoes on all the sides, 2-3 active volcanoes. And today he's going to tell us how these volcanoes affect the lives of people, their way of living, their architecture and everything.
The idea is I will speak about the history of Napoli from Greek time up to now. Okay, why is it Greek time? Because Napoli was created 700 before Jesus Christ by Greek people. It was a Greek colony, and it was a Greek colony for a lot of years. Okay, for this, even during Roman Empire, in Napoli people were speaking Greek. And this is really important to know and to understand the local culture, because it was actually part of what we call the Big Greece. South of Italy was part of the Big Greece. We call it Magna Graecia. And they had a lot of cultural and also thinking about what are living between volcanoes, especially in Greek culture. For this, I will start with this photo. I choose this photo because generally when people think about Napoli, they think about summertime. But in Napoli, actually on the volcano, sometimes you have snow in wintertime. And I think sometimes it's good to start destroying cliché. For this is not a city of sun also, it's also a city of snow sometimes. And this is the volcano from the city, the biggest one. The name is Vesuvio. And up down you have a castle that this is from I think 600 years ago, but it was built under some Roman ruins and before Greek. For this, Mount Vesuvius is an active stratovolcano and is one of the most dangerous volcano and one of the most actually studied volcano, because it's a volcano that sometimes explode and sometimes have just some kind of eruption that are very not explosive. Okay, for this it depends. Sometimes tourists were going there just to see the eruption, and it was very easy for a lot of centuries. People was just going there, 200 meters maybe from the lava, and it was really very easy to see it without no big dangers. But sometimes it just explode. And when it explodes very, very badly. Okay, everyone knows, I think, about Pompeii and Ercolano, that are these Roman cities that you will see later on the talk, that have been actually destroyed and somehow conserved by the eruption. For this, the other things that is really interesting is that Napoli is the place and the city around the city that have the biggest population for square meters of all Europe. Okay, whereas imagine, I will show the photo later, but imagine, just to have an idea, the city is few kilometers, and behind you have Vesuvio, that is one of the most dangerous volcanoes in Europe, and in the north of the city you have another volcano that is called Campi Flegrei, that is also very dangerous. Because the city is just few kilometers that somehow survived, because in the south of the city everything is older than, for example, 300 years ago, 400 years ago. In the south of the city, you don't see it anymore, because in the last explosion of the volcano just arrived to the lava arrived to the sea. For this, in the south neighborhood, you don't have nothing older than 400 years ago. In the north neighborhood, you can see part of the city under the water, because the volcano does something that we call it bradisismo. Is sometimes when there is gas or lava, the soil, just the ground go up. For example, in the last 10 years, it went up 1 meter. Or sometimes it goes down, because you see part of the Roman city under the water. And imagine this city is in the middle, and always survived somehow. But from a contemporary modern idea, it's not the good place to have a city. And especially the city with the highest population in Europe for square meter. Because it's not just Napoli, but around Napoli there are other 5, 6 medium cities, but in reality it's just one city. If you don't know, if you are not local, if you are not local, you will never know when Napoli stop and start Portici. And after Portici, you have Ercolano, and after Ercolano, you have Torre del Greco, and after Torre del Greco, you have Torre Annunziata, and after Torre Annunziata, you have Castellammare di Stabia, and even in North Pozzuoli. This is really, really an interesting place to live around. For this, this is the last eruption of 1948. Actually, it's not a very good news that this was the last eruption, because generally before 1940, sorry, this was not 48, it was during the Second World War. And generally before there were eruptions each 5, 6, 7 years. And this generally is good, because when you have a lot of eruption, generally there is less chance that you will have a big explosive eruption. But if the volcano is quiet for a lot of time, there is good chance that when you will have another, it can be explosive. Because now it's just sleeping after the Second World War, and somehow is good or not. It's kind of for this. The most famous eruption of the volcano, it was the 79 after Jesus Christ, that destroyed the city of Pompeii and Ercolano. These cities was very rich Roman cities, and they actually didn't expect. I will speak after about this, about the possibility of some eruption, because they knew somehow they were living in lands that have kind of relationship with gas, with things that were related with volcanoes, but they didn't know that the mountain could explode. But this we will speak later on. And but this is the most famous one. These are some paintings from they did during the centuries about the volcano. Generally, the volcano, when it explodes, the worst things it can do is some pyroclastic flow. That generally are terrible, because imagine a pyroclastic flow is something that it's like an avalanche with a very, very high temperature. For this, when the avalanche take you, you just explode. You just explode in very few seconds, because you like burn alive and you explode. And this is the worst things that can happen, and it happened a lot of time actually. For example, in Ercolano, that is the second city around Pompeii, they had a pyroclastic avalanche. And after we will see the difference, because there is a difference on what happened in the city. How the city was conserved in Pompeii is different than how the city was conserved in Ercolano. For example, Ercolano, everything's burned very quickly. For this, you have the furniture, you have the wood conserved, because it's just carbonized very easy. But and you have the skeleton of the people, and you can see how the skeleton quite explode. But in Pompeii, you will see later it was like lava and ash. For this, you have the body of the people actually, but not the true body, because they found the holes in the lava. For this, after they put the clay inside of the holes, and they found exactly, we will see later, how the people die, the last moment of these people. And they became like statues somehow, of clay, but still. For this, this is still Napoli. This is the main volcano. Vesuvio, yeah.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah. And it's one of the most monitored volcanoes in the world. Not just because it's one of the most dangerous, because it is also, but there you have more dangerous volcanoes around the world. But a lot of them are in an environment that are very wild, and they're not so controlled. The fact that it's so dangerous in a place that is also with a so big population make the fact that you really need to control and check it a lot. For this, there is a red zone around the volcano where you are not supposed to live. And in reality, there are more than 700 people living in this no living zone. Okay? And this is a big thing because you cannot do nothing about. And this is the first things that maybe affect the mentality of people. You know that you should not live there. Any scientist will tell you should not live there. The state tell you should not live there. But people live there. And they live there because in their own mentality, they've always been living there. They found a way somehow. And this we will see in the end of the talk, but the idea about this talk is that somehow in Napoli you have, Napoli is famous for being very chaotic, to have a little bit anarchic, but it's not actually anarchic, it's that each building have different rules, but there are rules. For example, in my buildings, the rules are different from the nearby building, and I cannot do whatever I want. I'm not from the city originally. I just am living there for 9 years. In the building I'm living, they call me the foreigner, because I'm the only one that is not connected, not family, or not okay. And there are very strict rules, but are the rule of the building. And people just think this is anarchic, but it's not anarchic. It's just a lot of different buildings. And people have very, what I love about Napoli, that there is no an idea about something strange. You can see anything in the street, and especially in poor neighborhood, people will not think it's strange. Because somehow the mentality of people is that if you have one rule, you can have other 200 rules. And if you have one chance, one possibility, why not the opposite? And for this generally, especially not in the rich area, but in the popular and once also quite poor background, somehow there is a kind of, not freedom of behaving, but it's you can do a lot of things that a bourgeois will think is very strange. And you just realize that normal people, they don't look at them. And they have a lot of theater also, for example. In Napoli, when you have to, if there is a problem, sometimes is when you work in social project, you realize this a lot. No? You arrive there, you think, okay, there are a lot of problems, it's a poor neighborhood, I should change them, okay? They're not good, and I'm their educator. No, there's a lot of things that are not good. Little by little, what I really love about Napoli, that you realize that sometimes it's not exactly like that. That a lot of behavior that you think are a little bit strange or just not good, in reality, somehow, when you get why they do this and where you are, you discover that sometimes they know better than you how to solve this problem in this city. But it's like if they have a kind of different thinking about life and a different thinking about how to behave. And theater is a good way to solve problems in the street sometimes. Sometimes they can shoot a lot, they can do a lot of... and in the same time, they can invent stories. Napoli is a city about legends. I saw a lot, I remember one day, the mother of a friend of mine that passed away. The mother was in the cemetery. She couldn't find the tomb of the daughter, and she was really believing that she was near an elevator. Okay, but there was no elevator at all. Okay, the person that was inside of the cemetery, that was an informal person, because actually the cemetery was closed. The office of the cemetery was closed. Just start to speak with her like 20 minutes. That she had a reason. Because they were projecting to build an elevator. And the elevator in the future was exactly right in the spot where her daughter was buried. He just invented it. It was completely fake things, but it was a way that she just became calm, relaxed. And I will never forget this, because I really thought in Milano they would just have to tell her, sorry, madam, but it's not like that. But they just really understood that you can create something that is not true is just a small story, but sometimes it can be useful for someone. In Napoli, they do this a lot. It's a city that is full of legend, full of story, and I always think that when you live under a volcano and maybe you could die tomorrow, it's better to believe that someone would protect you, to believe that somehow the city has more than 54 saints, not one, 54, 57, I don't even know how many of them. And they believe the city born from we call it a siren, okay? And there is a lot of things that you really, and this part of thing for me, it was what I really love about, because I understood that sometimes you can create your own narrative, and it can be true, not true. This is not my...
Like myths.
Yeah, exactly. It's not my things to understand if it's true or not true, but I really get that it's useful sometimes. That people can really... for this was why I went to Napoli and why I'm discussing about volcanoes. For this 700,000 of people lives in a place where they should not, actually. That's the main point. This is the red area around the volcano from the civil protection of Italy. And it's one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world because you have so many people around. Imagine if it explodes in a chaotic city. How is possible to manage it? It's not easy at all. This is one side. The other side is what they call Campi Flegrei. Okay, this volcanic is north of Napoli, and is also a very complex and dangerous volcanic system. The last big eruption was really from 20,000 years ago or something like that. But they had some small eruption, for example, 400 years ago. But the point is not what makes this area complex is not the potential about the eruption. That each 20, 40 years, sometimes the soil goes up and goes down. Goes up and goes down. First, the people is used to live in a place from centuries where your house can one day maybe be under the water, or maybe your boat can be out of the water. Now the boat is out of the water. For example, the port there is no more water in the small port of the fishermen because the soil just went up, and they have like a lot of earthquake. As you can see, all these round things there. Is all they are all different craters. Each time that you had a different eruption, it was
new island would form.
Yeah, exactly. And for this. The last really terrible eruption, it was like 50,000 years ago, and you have a small one in 1538 that just created a small mountain. But imagine all the stone people they used to build the city. They called Tufo was made by the old eruption for 40,000 years ago, and the city is made by about this stone. The Bradisism is what I was telling you, that is a slow lift and subsidence of the ground caused by hydrothermal fluid movement and gas movement. Okay. This is again the city from up. And this caldera about these volcanoes, they include the cities Pozzuoli, Bacoli, that also are not. There's a lot of population also there, actually. Not so many as in Portici in the south of Napoli, but still there are a lot. Well, this is Bradisism I was speaking before, and it came from actually a Greek word, and is low movement of the soil. And this is the gas and the magma that is moving inside. The point about the Bradisism I was telling you, that is not something that is very dangerous, but it could be dangerous in a different way, because when you have all these earthquakes, even if they're not very, maybe there are hundreds in 1 year, but the earthquakes are very near to the soil, to the surface. For this, they can shake the house a lot in a small area, but they can do. I have a lot of friends living there, and after a bit you get used about your house. But some of them, they cannot enter anymore in the house because the house was damaged too much, yes, in the last period. This is all the earthquake they had just in this year.
1 year.
It's kind of...
What's the Richter scale average?
Richter, it will be like 3, 2. It's not so high. It's not like an earthquake in Afghanistan or something like that. But we had, I didn't speak about this because it's not related with the volcanoes, but in 1980s in the city, in Napoli, there was a terrible earthquake that was actually originated by in Irpinia, that was in the mountain around. And the whole province of Irpinia was just destroyed. There is nothing more there anymore. And the city had really a lot of problems. Because the house didn't collapse, but a lot of people had to left the house and still now we have a lot of area that they never built again. After 40 years, the buildings are still collapsing. And for this, it was psychologically, it was a very dark time for Napoli, because these poor people were from the inner city. They went to the poor area in modern building. They lost all their connection. Yeah. And mafia start to control this new neighborhood, and they had a lot. It was also the decade of heroin. For this, the state really lost the control of a lot of neighborhood. Now it's not anymore like that, but it took at least 7 or 9 or 10 years from the state to control again these neighborhoods. And a lot of people were just kidnapping in the middle because the criminality was just managing everything, and it was really bad. But now it changed a lot. Like it's really, you don't have if you're not local, you will not understand where there is criminality at all.
Was it in 1980s?
1980s, yeah. But if it was going in, for example, 10, 20 years ago, no tourists will never go. Even rich people from Napoli would never go in some neighborhood, because it was really a little bit tricky. You could go, but it was a little bit tricky. Now it's completely different. For this, it was the 1000th of earthquake actually, just in this year. For this, the point that the old Greek, when they arrived there, they knew about volcanoes. Somehow, yes, in their mythology. They knew because they were thinking that this land was the door for the afterworld. Because all this gas, all this strange kind of reaction that the land used to have, they were using it for hot water, for example, for the bath, all these things, and at the same time for their own mythology. And for this, they had a lot of mythology related about. And for example, we have one of them is that we think they were using gas to go in trance, but for them, there were these kind of ladies that were going in trance and were predicting future. And now we think they were, because they were near exactly to the place where the gas were, because we think it was a kind of trance related with gas, but this is a scientific mentality. Probably just the Greek will know what it was happening. But for this is what we call solfatara. Is a part of the land that just have all this kind of gas coming up from the land, and nothing grow there. For this is perfect if you want to have a kind of it's a perfect door for the afterworld somehow, if you want to think. But this was about what I was telling about hot spring, sulfur, smell, all these things. And for sure, the Greek people were not understanding what a volcano was exactly, but they have an idea that somehow it was a dangerous place, at least. And for example, this lake was considered to be the enter of the one of the enter of the afterworld. That is actually a crater that became a lake. There are a lot of them actually, and also the fire we're explaining about in this way. For example, the fire was associated with Hephaestus, that was the god of fire and metalworking, and all this. And for example, eruption were considered like monster underground. Or, there's a lot of different mythology. This was we have this very famous we call it Sibylla Cumana, that she was a lady that was predicting the future to people. And generally in a way that you could think, like in Greece, there was another very famous one in Greece, and generally the things that were given to you, they were kind of right in a way that you could find always an answer, because it was very double meaning. You could read in two different ways.
You could go anywhere and
Yeah.
still the oracle would be right.
Exactly. And we have two places that we consider where the Sibylla Cumana were from tradition. We don't know if they were exactly these places or not. But one is this one, that is on the lake. And another one is in Cuma. I will show you later the photo. Cuma was the first Greek city colony built in south of Italy. That is near Napoli. For this, the Sibyl was believed to dwell in a cave near Cuma, carved into the volcano Tuf. Tuf is the rocks. And this is what I was saying. And this is the other one. We don't know exactly, because this is what from tradition people saw these places, and after centuries they say Cuma was the place. We know that Cuma was the place where there was this temple with this kind of prediction. And now the people, when they enter in this place, they thought, oh, we should be here. But we don't have actually proof if it was this place or another place. But it was in the area anyway. For this prophecy and volcanic phenomena is an answered thought. Volcanic gas and underground heat and earth movement were often seen as source of divine inspiration. The Sibyl trance-like prophecy described an ecstatic, chaotic, and powerful, and may have been inspired by natural phenomena of the area, such as strange sound, vapors, and things. For his her voice was believed to come from deep of the within, and this is all the things I was speaking about. After we have okay, this is also they were seeing as the entry from the underworld, and we have a lot of writers that wrote about. For example, Virgilio. Virgilio is is the most important. Is like the Roman Homero. Okay, he was writing about all the Roman epic. Is probably the most important.
Yes, what's the name of the book?
Aeneid was the like Iliad for the Roman people,
yes.
Yeah, and or Odyssey. And this is during the Roman period. For this, during the Roman period, it was a little bit people were living under the volcano, but they didn't know too much about, because the thing is that the Vesuvio was not erupting from like 200-300 years. For this, they didn't have really a memory about the last eruption. And when the Roman colonized the Greek colonies in south of Italy, this was just a very rich area, very, very rich, with a lot of city and a soil that was very fertile. What they knew about the Roman people was for sure about the hot water, because they were using for the bath. In the Roman culture, the bath were really very important. And for this, they knew that they had this kind of phenomenon that in Rome you didn't have, because in Rome you don't have natural hot water. You have in Tuscany or in south of Napoli, but not. You have in near Viterbo, that is not far from Rome, but not in Rome. For this, the only way that the city of Pompeii had a big earthquake some years before the explosion of the volcano in the 62. When the eruption arrived, the people were actually restoring the city. First, they found a lot of house, most of house, they were under restoration. They found even all the things for restoring the house or repainting it.
Construction.
It was really interesting. But generally, the people was just living in a city that was, for sure, been destroyed, but people didn't left. They were thinking it was a right place to stay. This is Pompeii, and you can see the volcano. And
is Pompeii today?
Yeah, today. Yeah.
The remains of it.
Yeah. And we don't know exactly when, because for the tradition, the eruption was in August, but the modern excavation, they say it was in October. Because we had a very important writer that wrote about this eruption, because there was two writers. One was Plinio the Old, and the other one was Plinio the Son, the elder and the son. The elder just died. He was a very important writer, and he died during the eruption. But the son, his son, was there, and the father died because he was trying to help the people, actually. And the son was there, and he survived, and he wrote about the eruption. For this, we know everything, because he wrote perfectly.
Because of his writings.
Yeah, he was an historian. For this, he actually wrote he was also member of the Senate of Rome. It was a very, very high-level family. And for this, we know exactly what happened, but for some reason, the date he wrote, the scientists knows is not true, because as the city conserved everything, they found a lot of, in the houses, they found a lot of vegetables that were typical from the autumn. For this, they could not be there in August, for sure. And for this, now we know is for sure October. And the city, this is actually all the different phase about the eruption. A lot of people didn't run away initially, probably, because in the first stage they had just this huge
plume of smoke.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, initially they saw the mountain explode with a cloud that went just up from thousands of meters. They didn't really understood that the cloud somehow was coming back. First, when the cloud came back, it was too late to run away. And for this, we know a lot of people died there, because we found a lot of people around. And in Ercolano was different. They didn't find anyone in the city until they didn't excavate in the port. And they found these very sad things. They found hundreds of people under the arch of the port, waiting for a boat, and just exploded in the moment where I didn't put the photo of this, as I should have done. And this is actually Pompeii, for example. You can see how they are beautiful, the remains, actually, the frescoes and everything.
So this part has survived, actually?
Yeah. Everything survived. It's really, the only thing that didn't survive was the building that were 2-3 floors, because the ash was very heavy and the roof collapsed.
Oh, yes.
And for this, generally, the first floor is well conserved. The second floor is, they found the piece underground, and they just tried to recreate it with the original piece. The really problem was the pyroclastic flow that actually took Ercolano, not Pompeii. In Pompeii, the people that just died under gas and ash and lava. This is Ercolano, and this is the port. You can see under this arch, you can see the small things under the arch. This is the people.
Can you use the
mouse?
Yeah, I think you can point it like
here. You see, there are this is skeletons.
Oh. Okay.
This is all the people were here. They didn't find anyone in the city, but they found all the skeletons in the arch of the port.
This is the port, right?
Yeah. Now there is no more port there, because the coast is like some kilometer away. But at the time, this was the port. You can really imagine what happened. And now these people are just waiting, and suddenly they die. This is original wood from the time, from Ercolano, because as in Ercolano there was a pyroclastic avalanche. Everything became carbonized, and this is conserved. We have a lot of wood furniture around. For example, this. This was a kind of altar for the house saints, and also the relatives. In the house of the Roman time, you had some altar where you have all the different gods and the statue of the people of your family. We will see later on that we still do this in Napoli. We hidden in a Catholic way, but it's exactly the same. And this is all vessel, is all original. Even the table is original. But this is about all the people that probably die. We're not exactly sure about, but this is Pliny the Younger. I was speaking before, and he was a lawyer, magistrate, writer, author, and also he was in the Senate. And he was the nephew adopted by Pliny the Elder, that was a very famous naturalist from Roman time. We are lucky somehow because we had his own. It's a very interesting history because you have books about someone that was writing what was happening with a kind of initial naturalist point of view. For sure, a naturalist point of view of the time, but still kind of. And we have also the archaeological side now. For this, we can see both things. And he was actually Pliny. He was a senator. This we can skip it. And he was writing some letter to Tacitus. Tacitus was another very famous Roman intellectual. And we have all this information about what happened from these letters. This is also a very intriguing, very interesting story. In one of the villas, they found a bibliothèque, a library, with hundred, I think even 1,000 manuscripts that were still conserved, but we don't know actually how to open that. First, we know inside there is a lot of books about philosophy, because the house was from a philosopher. We had the Greek part of the library, but not the Roman side. And the villa was not completely excavated. But they found out, we will see later, that when they finally discovered Pompeii, it was in 300 years ago. It was during 1700. For this, it's from that time that are trying to open and read it. But they started with some kind of machine for 300 years ago that was trying to open them, but very slowly, but they destroyed a lot of them.
So as not to destroy them?
A lot of, but not somehow, yeah. And but we still have a lot of them. And still now they're working on that. Now there is an international competition. You can win billion of euro or dollars if you just can open that because there was not opening that, because before what they were doing is doing some radiography. But what's the problem is that they were writing with a pen that was using some kind of cenere. Cenere is in Italian is ash. Okay, but this is very similar to the paper when it burned. For this, as they were writing using some kind of ash, now that the paper burned, it's very difficult to read it, to understand what is the ash from the writing and what is the ash from the. But somehow they are scannerizing it with radiography, and now with artificial intelligence, they are trying to read it. Mm-hmm. And this is still a big competition now after 300 years. It's really interesting. And if and maybe one day they will discover a lot of books that we just lost in the past, because there is a lot of philosophical books from Greek time that we don't have. These are very, very interesting things.
So these books are from like Greek times, or were they about Jesus or something?
Is Jesus time, Roman time, but it was about Greek philosophy.
Okay.
You see, it's writing, and it should be Greek, I think. Because I don't want to be wrong. They are just because they have there was two sides, Greek and Latin. Mm. And if I remember well, and from what I can see also, I think from the letter, it should be the Greek part that they found. But after I can check out. And this is how they are. And
this is the way they are now.
Yeah.
Books.
They're rolled, yeah, because they were papyrus rolled.
Oh yes.
For this, generally, they don't open them anymore. They just have this kind of scanner that can open it from a technological point of view.
Okay.
Yeah. After I will check if it's the Greek part, but I think 90% is the Greek one. And but it's one of the most active volcanoes, and this is all the eruption they did in explosive way, because there is a lot of other eruption not explosive, and these are the explosive one. This is things they just it's like you have a lot of art related with volcanoes.
Some French artist?
Yeah, this is it's brought in France, but sometimes it was made by French people, but sometimes French was just the international language. For this, we cannot be sure if it was French, the artist. But this is all the different eruptions still.
Still, like it can happen anytime.
Yeah.
1944.
Yeah.
Like earthquakes in Japan, huh?
Yeah.
Anytime.
Okay, in the Roman society, as I was telling, they were using the natural hot spring for the Roman bath, and this was really important in the culture, because the Roman were using this hot spring to do things like the hammam in the Arabic culture, and the purpose was very similar. You were going there for business, for speaking about politics, for wash yourself, for any different reason, but it was a social place.
Like modern day golf.
Yeah. This, for example, is an old bath in the remain of an old bath in Bacoli, in Baia, that is north of Napoli. This is they're still using it. For example, this one. This is Stufe di Nerone.
How frequently would they take baths, like per day, in these hot baths?
I think I think some people, I think every day. Some people, if they were more rich, the people that were working a lot, maybe less time. But the Roman imperator were generally building a lot of public bath, even because if to build public bath, generally is maybe open also to probably to poor people that were not paying them. It was a way for the imperator to be recognized as important. For this, you have different baths, but some of them were built by the different imperator. And but imagine the rich people they used to have in their own home, because they were the public bath, but the rich villas from the Roman time, all of them as public.
Their own baths.
Yeah, their own bath inside.
Oh, so it's a big part of their culture. Huh?
Yeah. And but this is about all the spring, natural spring. 𝐶𝐸𝐯 is a very famous island near Napoli that still now the tourism is from bath. People go there mostly for the hot spring. Still now. You can see all the different pools and. Okay, this is also a very interesting thing. Baia, everyone, generally tourists knows about Pompeii and Ercolano, but they don't know about the underwater city of Baia. That is actually, it was a rich area where they used to have a lot of villas, and very rich. For instance, it was the villas of the imperators, the highest, the Beverly Hills of the Roman time. And the Beverly Hills of the Roman time, suddenly in the 4th century or 5th century, they start little by little to go underwater. To collapse, to sink. And for this, now is what it is now. You can have like mosaic underwater. You can have, this is the city, the plan of the city. You can have, for example, statue like that. Now these are copy. The original one, they found them, they put now in museums. But
amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really lovely. And this during the Middle Age, they start to sink little by little.
Because up and down.
Yeah, it's like a souffle, a French souffle. It can go up and down. It depends from.
Villas go underwater, then they come above the water.
Yeah, exactly. And for sure, there is also some mythology that imagine about the legend of the Sinking City. Yeah, exactly. For sure, the oldest is probably some Greek island that used to have some. They found some old city that they were destroyed by eruption during the, I think, Mycenaean period, that are very, very old, that probably can be when this legend really started up. But still also Baia, imagine the people in Middle Age, they didn't knew about the city that sank. And when they were fishing, sometimes they were finding just piece of the city underground, and they were thinking, why the cities, what happened there?
Yeah. So Neptune and that tribe.
Yeah, exactly.
They come from this actually.
But there was also a lot of artistic artists that they were inspired by this. For sure, this they discovered it in 1960, but the fishermen always knew it. They knew. And they stole it a lot. But this, what we have now is really a small part of what it was. For this, this was about Baia. There is also a video, but I don't know if we have the time. Do you want to see the video? Yeah. Because we have, let's see if it's working, the link. It's in Italian, because all the English one, they were very touristic, stupid things. For this, I think it was not.
No, you have AI translations.
But what is really important is to see the.
You can turn on subtitles in translation.
छोटी सी है तो.
अच्छा ठीक है.
It's still the original.
Skip. But I can translate it for.
Napoli.
The quality of the video is not good.
Okay.
It's fine actually, but you can just comment upon it.
Yeah. For this, what they are showing is that how the archaeologists are working in the site, in the mosaic, And generally, when you go, you dive there. You dive with divers that is from the national park. That will take out from the mosaic because they cover the mosaic with some kind of small stones just to be sure they were not destroyed by the sea. And when you dive, they just remove part of it to show you the mosaic.
You can discover the mosaics yourself actually.
Yeah, exactly. And also they were saying that they are after climate change, we used to have before this seaweed. That the name was Posidonia, that is actually one of the most important symbol of Mediterranean, but now it's disappearing. And as this seaweed was covering a lot of this area, now it's not anymore there. They are discovering that it's much bigger, and they are finding a lot of new things that before was just covered by seaweed, and it was not very clear to archaeologists.
So this is because of like global environmental change.
Yeah.
That.
About global warming, yeah. No, also before in 1970 when they found it, for sure you could remove Posidonia also in 1970, but they didn't know, they just discovered a part, but not everything. But this is, I think, is the last part. This is the part outside. It's actually the bath, the Roman bath. For sure, we have a lot of religious
mythology and legends.
Yeah, not just this, but people was praying to be saved somehow, because the volcano was giving you fertility from land, but it could kill you. For this, we have a lot of way to pray to be protected from the volcano, especially during Catholic time and Christian time. First, we have a lot of saints that protect you from volcanoes. For example, in Napoli, we have two of them. One is San Proculus, that is the saint from Ercolano, and this is the religious procession they do. This is small because it's in Pozzuoli, but for example, this is San Proculus.
Was it an original saint or it was just a dummy?
For example, speaking about San Gennaro, I think San Proculus too, I'm not sure, but from the name is Roman names. We don't have historically proof, for example, about these saints. If we have to know something about San Gennaro, for example, this is the saint that protected the volcanoes from Napoli. We just know he was the bishop of Benevento, and that he was, during Roman time, he was killed because he didn't accept to go back to the paganism. But to paganism, because for the tradition, the Roman Roman Empire sometimes were killing a lot of Christians because they want they go back to the old religion.
Yeah.
But we have to say that historically we have proven part of this.
So the books and manuscripts that like survived those times and which
Yeah.
come down to this time.
Yeah, but also we don't have really the Christian won after. As they won, they have their own narrative about what happened.
Yes.
Yeah, because we don't have exactly the Roman point of view. We have sometimes, and sometimes Christians were blamed for a lot of things. The most important things for a Roman people were accepting all the religion generally, because when they became when they colonized new area, they just asked to people, add your gods to our gods, and that's it, and believe that the imperator is also God. The only problem they had was with Jewish and Christian, because Jewish and Christian, they could not add
God to their
God to the and they cannot accept the imperator as a god somehow.
You cannot accept?
The imperator as a god itself. For this, generally, from a Roman point of view, they were ideological somehow for what we think now. But for a lot of time, they were living in the middle of the pagan people with no problems, and we know this for sure.
They were like practical emperors who were more concerned about like governing in a practical way.
Yeah, exactly. And for sure, this is my opinion, but it's also history. Christians, when they arrived to power, they also were not open-minded with pagans, because when the Christianity became the religion of the little by little, the pagans they
were driven out or something.
Yeah, they destroyed a lot. All the church we have now, they are under Roman temples. For this, some of them maybe it's people that change religion and they build their own temple on the church, on the old temple. But some of them, they were also closed because they were not. We have two narratives, and it's very difficult. Probably was something in the middle. The Romans were not too bad against the Christian, but sometimes they were killing them. And probably when the Christian religion became the Roman religion,
Official religion, yeah.
sometimes they were behaving bad against the pagans, sometimes they were just integrated them. But it's very tricky. Still now historians are trying to study this. For example, the other religion that was in competition with the Christian one was the Mitraic religion that was coming through the soldier from Iran. It was Mitra. And for this, a lot of Christian temples are built on Mitraic temple. And in the case of Mitraic temple, it's probably sure that the Christian they destroyed a lot of them. The Christian destroyed a lot of this in Italy, because it's very rare to find a temple with still the statue of Mitra inside, or the frescoes. It's very, very rare. Yeah, and generally they found half destroyed, as you see they have been destroyed. We don't know exactly why, but probably because this religion was the fast-growing religion with the Christian one. For this, there was a moment where Rome could be Mitraic and not Christian.
Really?
And for this, probably they felt more in competition with them than other pagan.
And it had come from Iran?
Through soldier, yeah, to the Roman soldier. Yeah. And anyway, for this, what happened is the same for the saint. A lot of the saint we have now, we don't know if they never existed, or probably yes. But some statues, some tradition, they are very similar to the old gods. For this, somehow, some of the saints, because the gods were specialized in something, they had some kind of symbols, and sometimes the saints are specializing in protecting you from something, and they have some kind of symbol. Sometimes you can see from the architecture of the statue that the tradition is very similar to the old god. For this, it's very debate. It's not easy. I think if you have 10 historian and 10 archaeologists, they will discuss about probably about what is true or not true, or they interact. For this, I think I can speak about San Gennaro. San Gennaro is the most famous saint of Napoli. He actually was killed. He was the mayor of, no, sorry, not the mayor, the bishop of Benevento, that is actually in the mountain, not 1 hour, 2 hour far from Napoli. And he was actually killed by the Roman, if the tradition is true, in Pozzuoli. For this is actually was not the bishop of Napoli, but he became the most important saint, famous saint in Napoli, between the 57, 54 saints we have. Why is really interesting this saint? Because
Christian saint.
yeah, Christian saint. Yeah,
Liquefaction of his blood?
yeah, that's a really interesting point.
What does that mean?
That means that the city, the people in Napoli, they have they have a relationship with this saint, very strange. They pray with him, but they can be very angry with him. Okay, and why the reason? The reason is they make a contract with him. They really created a contract with the saint, and the saint have to respect the contract. For some years, they decided it was not anymore the saint of Napoli. Because something happened. I think
he was not fulfilling his side.
Yeah, exactly. I think the French came in the city and they took to Napoli, and the people was against. It was not happy, and they decided to. I think it was during Napoleon time. I think it was during Napoleon, if I'm not wrong now. Anyway, the liquefaction of the blood is actually 3 times by year. The bishop of Napoli have what people believe is the blood of the saint in a glass bubble. And he moved it like that, okay? And the people, they pray. Initially, they don't pray. Actually, they ask in a very harsh way to the saint to do the miracle, because otherwise they can become very angry. And if the blood don't become liquid, generally it's very bad luck for the city. And they do this 3 times by year. Generally, the blood became liquid, but the time it didn't become, generally they had problems. For example,
the blood is clotted, so if they move it, it becomes unclotted.
Yes.
That's the miracle.
Yeah, the point is that the Catholic Church say you can believe or not believe. They don't consider this a miracle, okay? Because they know that probably there is a scientific explanation. Some people believe that this kind of blood, if you move it, it can. There's some scientists that say that moving this blood, it became again liquid. But generally, the Catholic Church said you are free to believe or not. And but what I like about this relationship with the saint, that you can be angry with him. He has to do his job, because otherwise he's fired. They will find another one. And this is the saint behind the volcano. And
San means
Santo, saint, yeah. For this, you have a lot of cities around the volcanoes have different saints that protect them. Okay, there is Santa Maria della Neve, Sant'Anna, so there is a lot of them.
It's so similar to our part.
Yeah. Here you can see the saint with his hand is stopping the lava.
Stopping the lava.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is some painting about the saint and the eruption. His name during Roman times was Janarius, and he was killed in 305 after Jesus Christ. This is some modern painting about him. It's kind of very pop, modern painting. This is oil painting with the eruption behind. Also, the things about blood is easy to think that blood is the same color of lava. There is a lot of cultural thinking about the fact that, for example, if you go to Catania, the saint protector of the Catania is Sant'Agata, and when they do the procession, they do the procession with thousands of very massive, huge candles. Do you see candles in English? That are like maybe 300 kilos, and they just run with this candle. Because you see it with the fire. For this, you see thousands of people running with this huge candle with the fire everywhere, fire volcanoes. There is a lot of cultural thinking.
Still, it is like that.
Yeah, still. And a lot of people that is not religious still is attached to the saint. For example, I don't know if San Gennaro is never existed, okay? But as a lot of people living there, if something is going very bad, sometimes I can say, okay, let's see if he can help us.
In desperation, they would turn to that saint.
Yeah. This is the blood. And it's called the lava of the saint from a poetical point of view.
So what is better if it stays?
No. If the blood don't melt, it's very bad luck. Very, very bad luck for the city.
And they will get angry.
Yeah. It was probably, if I remember well, it was during the Second World War. Things that were really bad.
That was good timing.
Yeah. And this is the Virgin Mary from the lava. Also, they have a lot of them. Sant'Anna, Torre del Greco. This is a very interesting thing. This is a church with a Virgin Mary fresco, and after one of the eruption, explosive one, this church was buried under some meters of lava. But after like 7 months after the eruption, they discovered that they think it's a kind of miracle that the chapel of the Virgin Mary was conserved. For this now you have the roof is actually the lava.
It is a miracle.
Yeah, it's kind of. And the volcanic material is also is the material that was used to build the city. For this, the color of the city are the same color of the stone from the volcanoes. You have two different colors. You have the color of the tufo. Tufo was from Campi Flegrei, from Pozzuoli, and the color of the black stone from the lava from Vesuvio. You can recognize generally what is.
What color is this?
Yellow. The tufo from Pozzuoli is yellow, and the stone from the Vesuvio is black generally.
Can it bear weight? Like foundation pillar?
Yeah, very good actually. They're very good for also for earthquake. Imagine that generally they were in the whole buildings in Napoli. They were taking the material right down of the building. What is the building are not just surviving to earthquake, but they are surviving to the fact that if you have 7th floor up, there is a hole of 7th floor down. Because they used the material, they took the material exactly from the ground, from the building.
So from the place where they made the building,
they built up.
So they had a lot of depth.
Yeah, exactly. If you have 7th floor high, you could have 7th floor down. And imagine a city that is like that when you have earthquake, but this material is very elastic. For somehow is a good material. And the only problem maybe is when you have flood, because the water tufo is very elastic, but you destroy it easily if you touch it too much. For this water, generally erosion, yeah, also wind sometimes eroded that a lot. You have to cover it with some kind of, yeah, exactly. This is, you can see the material, the color of the material.
This is volcanic rock, huh?
Yeah, it's tufo, and this is a neighborhood that actually in 1970 they decided to ask the people, they obliged the people to leave, to leave the area. It's actually the city center, and it was the old Roman agora from the city, and the forum of the city, the forum. And for this now it's empty, because in the last 30, 40 years the people could not live anymore there because the soil was going too much up and down, and they found it was dangerous. Because now they are trying to make a touristic area with some, and there is a lot of archaeological site inside of the mountain. You go under the building, and you see the old Roman city under the building. It's really beautiful. Pozzolana, this is volcanic ash that was used for doing concrete. Actually, one of the things that probably the Roman invented is concrete. Using this pozzolana. This is actually a concrete that can also use in water because it's waterproof. It's a really interesting. For this you have. This is about the architecture that we're using inside. Sometimes the eruption we also see as a message from God. If the population is doing something, is behaving bad, God would punish you.
Earthquakes are seen
Yeah.
here.
And first, you have a lot of frescoes where you see the saint protecting the city from the volcano, and but also in Napoli they used to have a lot of architecture where using some old expertise to avoid the building falling down during earthquake. For example, they were using some kind of arch that was very good in, and the building is still there after a lot of eruption, a lot of earthquake, and okay, this you can see the left side is the already restored part. The other side is still not restored. Because generally the building, they are not in tufo like that because they have to cover them. Otherwise, it will be eroded by wind. Yeah.
So the left side buildings are newer and they are painted.
No, it's old buildings, but they've just been renovated. Yeah.
And
Second part, they are still renovating it.
So it's strong, also bears weight, also flexible.
Yeah, exactly.
It just needs to be covered with
Yeah,
plaster.
exactly. I'm living in a tufa house. In the lower part of the house, the walls are like that because I'm near the sea and the wind just created kind of very. When you see them, you say, "Okay, we should cover it before it collapses." But anyway, okay, this is the cathedral of Pozzuoli. That is actually after the people were sent out of the neighborhood. The church was a Baroque church with some painting of one of the few and very famous female painter we had in Baroque time. That is Artemisia Gentileschi. But there was a fire in 1970, something like 1980. I don't remember now exactly. I think 1980 maybe. And part of the church burned, likely not the painting. And they discovered that the church was built on the temple. And the temple, Roman temple for August, I think it was for August, he was there. Actually, the city of Pozzuoli was the port of Rome, because actually before inventing the concrete, the Pozzolana, they were not able to do some natural barrage in the sea. For this, Rome is in a sandy place, is not very good for port. The first port they found, it was these volcanoes craters in south of Rome. For this was actually the port of Rome, Pozzuoli. And after they invented the Pozzolana, for this the port was moved to Rome part. And this temple, for this it was the first temple that the ship with the people that were actually doing business and the merchant found when they arrived in the port. This now they just put some glass to close from a column to another one, and it's still the cathedral now. But inside of a old temple. There are a lot of very important also writers that spoke about Vesuvio. For example, Boccaccio is one of the most famous poets from Middle Age that wrote about it, especially warning about the God punishment. But Boccaccio was not a very I would say, he was a kind of lover and erotical poet. For this, he was speaking about God, but he's also famous in Italy for being kind of more human sinner, speaking about also human sins. And he was Boccaccio. It's very important. It's like Dante for us, or kind of. And this is painting and artist. As you can see, a lot.
Reminds me of Mount Fuji in Japan.
Yeah.
Same images in every picture.
Yeah. Okay, this is another interesting story. Napoli had a lot of for the Catholic religion, if you're good, God will judge you and you will go to paradise. If you are bad, you go to purgatory, and maybe some year after you go to paradise. If you are very bad, you go to hell. But it's your own behave that will determine this. In Napoli, they believe and don't believe this. They have a different idea somehow. And in the past, it was really very strong. Now, you found few people that still believe it, very few. But in the past, it was really the majority of people. And the idea was that it was the prayer of people that was helping you to go to paradise. For this, you need people praying for you. If people is not praying for you, even if you're good, you get stuck. You get stuck in purgatory.
So you mean saintly people, very good people are praying for you?
No, even family.
Even family.
Yeah, but they need people praying for you.
Okay.
If no one is praying for you, you get stuck.
Okay.
And for this, imagine in a city with volcanoes, with eruption, with earthquake, with cholera, with other middle-age diseases like peste, that I don't know now what is in English. There was sometimes a lot of people dying in the same moment. For this, they need to bury all the family very quickly in holes. For this, maybe they buried 100 or even 1,000 of people in a few days in the holes. As we have a lot of holes under the buildings, they were using these holes just to bury people inside. And for this, this was the same period where the rich people were paying to have paradise. Okay, for the people, rich people.
They were asking people to pray for them. They were paying people to pray for them.
No. But imagine it was a moment where the rich people, they were giving money to the Catholic Church to building church, and they
In exchange.
were sure to go to paradise. After I will tell you what they do with the rich people. But the poor, what was happening, that they were thinking that these stuck people were coming after you at night time, telling you have to pray for me. I am this skeleton in the middle of 200 skeletons, but it's me. For this, please pray for me. And if you pray for me, I will do something for you. It's a kind of bargain between kind of poor people, but not poor people because they didn't have money, poor because they were stuck in purgatory, and the other people were not poor, but it was people from folk that they need help for some different reason. Because what they were doing, they were taking the skeleton like this, the skull generally, and they were giving them coins. Now they give them even cigarettes to smoke. Okay, they clean them, and some people give them the ticket of the bus ticket. There is a reason for the coins. Because during pagan time, where you were dying, you were supposed to cross a river, okay? And to cross the river, you were obliged to pay to give a coin to the gardener of the boat, to go to the afterward. And for the coin, when people is dying, traditional, you put in the coffin a coin. Still now that we are Catholic, because
so this comes from the Christian thought.
No, it's actually pagan. It's pagan, yeah.
But to reach the paradise, you have to cross that river.
This is pagan, and they believe that there was this man. The name was Caronte. It was not a man; it was a mythological that was helping you to cross the river between the land of the alive people and the afterworld. But if you didn't have the money for Caronte, you could not cross. Okay. And when people became Catholic, this tradition was too strong. For instance, they give the coins. They don't know why. They don't know, probably this is for Caronte. They don't have any idea about it.
Okay. But they still keep doing it to be on the safe side.
Yeah. And now it's less people doing this. But until 20 years ago, probably a lot of people.
It's a new film, Gladiator.
So,
the second part. They show this scene. When the hero, his wife dies, he sees her in a dream. She is passing through a river, and a man comes in a boat. It's this tradition.
For this, generally, they were the bus tickets. Some people I'm not sure about, because some people say it is not for this, and some people say it's for that. There's a lot of. It's a modern way to give the coin. It's the bus ticket, and they give them cigarettes, a lot of different things. And this tradition was still very alive until 10 years ago. The Catholic Church was very against it, very against. They closed all these places, and the municipality reopened them some years ago. And now they became somehow a touristic spot. For it's now that the church understood they can make money from it. Now they are managing it. But before they were trying to close them. Anyway, but what happened? You pray for the guy. And you say, but you ask something. If the things that you asked didn't become true, generally in the mentality of people, it was not your fault, but it was that the person had too many sins. There is no way you can go to paradise. After that, you just leave him. You said, okay, there is nothing I can do for you. But if your wish became true, they were building these small houses and putting the skull in the middle of the house. And they were writing the name of the person that was praying, because no one knows the name of the dead. And here, when the miracle became true. These are people that go to ask them for marriage, for a lot of different problematic. But this is
These are the skulls of who?
of the people that pass away during earthquake, during eruption, or randomly. The one important thing is that they have to be in halls with 1,000 other people, because the thinking is that no one is praying for them, because no one knows who they are, and probably they've been buried very quickly, and the family probably buried in the same time. Maybe it's for some disease like cholera or other middle age diseases that were killing half of the population in a few days.
So no one is praying for them, and if you pray for them, they will do something for you.
Yeah, exactly.
As a bargain.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And if your wish don't become true, you just leave them because they have too many sins. The somehow maybe ugly part of the history is that people were thinking that the best things it was to found, it's very sad actually, but it's what people was doing, to found the skull of a kid. Because kid was without sin.
Oh yeah.
First you were sure that your thing became...
But he was a smaller skull.
Yeah. And there is a lot of, between these skulls, some of them are famous for some reason. For instance, they have names. There's the Capitan, there are 2-3 churches where you found these places. Or here is it's not a church, is where the municipality put all the skulls they found in the city when Napoleone have decided that the cemetery have to be out of the city, as people was doing during Roman time also, and good time. The rich people, they were actually the opposite way around. They were paying to go to paradise, to build church, and they were taking the skull and they were putting on the wall and painting the body with the name and the aristocratic title. Because it was the prince, Charles, with the name and everything. And you have this place where one side you have all the men, other side you have all the women. And it was really it's one of the reasons because Luther made one of the main reasons because Protestant people they decided to get out from the Catholic Church. It was because they were selling paradise. They were selling paradise for.
There's the word for it, huh?
Yeah.
How many slides are left now? How many slides are there now?
I will do quickly. For this, this is another thing. This is what we call edicola votiva. Edicola votiva is the same things they were in the Roman house. In the Roman house, they were calling lari. It's an altar for in the past was all the god and the dead people from your family. They were putting some statue for representing the dead people and other statue to represent the... now they change with all the saints. And to represent the dead people, originally they were putting some statue with some flame. The flame is not but it's not the hell, it's the flame from the purgatory in that case. And now they put photos. You walk in the street and you see all the photos of the people the dead people from the family of the people taking care of them. As you can see, here is the photo. You see the photo of the people? And after you have the Virgin Mary, some saints.
This is so ritual similar to in India. I've been to India.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, streets, corners, shops, they'll have a niche.
Yeah.
ये दुआ करें इसके लिए।
दुआ के लिए, उसकी बरकत के लिए,
अच्छा।
for the blessings, everywhere.
अच्छा।
Yeah.
So this is being done by
the people living around. Yeah, they for sure they don't know it was a Roman tradition. Cultivated people knows it, but people living there they don't.
But now it has been co-opted into the Christian.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for example, this is Padre Pio. Is a very modern saint actually. Padre Pio.
You were talking about.
Yeah. He died in 1980, I think.
Yeah. Mursa knew a lot about.
Yeah. This is the seat. This is Jesus and people that pass away. Just the photos. This is a little bit the background of Napoli. This is the popular neighborhood of Napoli, the folk neighborhood.
Looks like some Middle Eastern.
Yeah. Painting. In Italy we have Canova. Canova was the most important. It was making a marble statue in classical Roman and Greek time. But they use also, as they found the furniture, it was a fashion even to make new furniture with the Roman style. We had fashion of it.
Which era was this when it became fashion?
It was 300 years ago. It was the discovery in 1709. It was during Illuminist time, before French Revolution. And also in architecture, you had, for example, this is the main square in Napoli. It was made by Napoleone. Napoleone was the Napoleon, and he arrived in Italy, and Napoli was part of French Empire for some decades, I think a decade, something like that, and they built a lot actually. For this, we had this the person that was the governor from Napoleone was Murat. That he did, the general. He did a lot of things in Napoli, and one of the things he built this square. That was started by him and finished after when the king came back, because he didn't have the time to finish it. I think he was in power in Napoli for 10 years, if I remember well. This is the San Carlo Theater. San Carlo Theater is the main theater from lyric, from opera, and is a very neoclassical style. For this, anyway, and also archaeology started. That is a very important thing. This is the moment where probably archaeology born. And it's the moment they had the first museum, and the moment they start to think how to preserve these things. And they did a lot of mistakes in preserving them. For example, the painting, what I do with a Roman painting. Initially, they were taking them out from the wall with a kind of technique. And after they were putting some kind of layer of varnish, I don't know how to say, but is some
varnish
kind
or something.
Yeah, to protect them. And they did terrible things because this layer changed the color of the frescoes. Even the restoration started in that period. They had to, for sure, the restoration there was also before, during in Roman time, in Renaissance, because in Renaissance they didn't have museum, but they had collection of archaeological things from Rome, which we can see also some kind of museum born at that time. And but the collection were in the house in Rome of the aristocrats or the bishops, because they were there.
Now it's big business, like having archaeology and artifacts in the museums.
Yeah.
And tourists coming in to the sites and museums.
Exactly. But actually, the King of Napoli made the first, one of the first museum of archaeology, that is what we call now Man, which I will show you later the photo, and it was one of the first museum, probably.
So all this excavation and discovery in this region created a lot of stimulant for culture, archaeology.
And tourism. If you read Goethe, the German poet, he was a tourist in Napoli, and he wrote a book about being tourist in Napoli. And it's so funny because it's exactly as nowadays. The only different thing is that he was going to see the eruption that now we don't see anymore. But for the rest, he was doing tourism too. Okay, here is what. This is the people that pass away, and they found they put the clay in the holes. But was also a very impressive thing. It's a technique they invented also in that time. And because you have exactly the idea of the last second of the person before dying.
It became like a mold actually.
They became a hole, and they put in the hole some clay.
Yes.
Yeah. And this technique was actually not invented at that time. It was invented in 19th century. But it's really, really impressive.
This is the way they died.
Yeah.
These are their last moments.
For this, you can have, this is a dog, a poor dog. You can use, you have a collar nowadays.
Yes.
This is people restoring the bodies. And this is the restoration. And
Restoration became a big art in.
Yeah. In Italy is one of the were very important. This is the Grand Tour. It was this ritualized journey through Europe to undertake and do the young aristocrats were doing to educate themselves. This is some painting they did about the different and they have a lot of very famous visitor, William Hamilton, the British ambassador in volcanologist, John Wolfgang Goethe.
Is the name of Goethe's book of Going to Naples?
Is I think the entire book, if I'm not wrong, is Journey Through Italy. I think, if I'm not wrong. And this is some different painting from that time. And this is Grand Tour we spoke about. Okay, this is the first. They did in 18th centuries, which is really one of the first museum that born as a museum. It was not the collection of a bishop or an aristocrat in his own public museum.
You have 5 more minutes as I have to go and take laptop.
Okay, I will do very, very quickly. This is some statue you can see in the museum. And this was the king that made the museum.
Interesting.
And another things, they did the first center to study. It was an observatory of volcanoes. It's the first in the world. For this, Napoli made the first volcano observatory in the history of the world, and it was this one on the volcano.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I was telling you initially, that how the people they behave and they reacted to volcanoes. And for this you have musicians.
Dolce Vita la
Yeah, exactly.
How you pronounce it?
Dolce Vita is more from Rome actually, but is this is Femminile we already talked about last time. Is the local hijra. I don't know.
What it has to do with volcanoes?
Because if you ask to them, a lot of people will say that they are double because they have a very strong connection with the land where they born, and the land is made by volcanoes and sea. For this, they have this kind of double relationship. But you can be in Italy and Hijra just if you're born in Napoli and around the Vesuvio. But you cannot do. It's not possible to have the same tradition in Rome or in other worlds because it's too connected with the land where they are living, and it's too connected with some religious and music cultural background. And as here they are good luck. They are recognized. They go for marriage. They take care of saint, priest, Virgin Mary, procession. They have their own local rituals. For example, marriage. They are fake marriage, but marriage made in the village, or funerals. It's like generally they're related with the agricultural cycles of life. Okay, this is a friend of mine that is in this procession that is called Monte Vergine, and Monte Vergine is for the Virgin Mary. Is one of the monasteries for the Virgin Mary, and is the monastery that protect the Femminelli, the Hijra people in Italy.
Okay.
He died now, but he was a very famous Femminello, and he was also one of the most important singer of Tamuriata. Tamuriata is the local cavalli. And this is and they do all this ritual. This is the funeral of Carnival. They do with also the local old ladies that they cry for funerals, as in Greek time. Even now there are always few of them. First, I will go a little bit. This is Tamuriata. That is this very famous local music. This is the lady from the village. They are doing. She's doing funeral of Carnival. This is again 𝐋𝐢𝐯𝐬𝐧𝐠 that passed away. That was a very important Tamuriata singer. And this is firework. This is a very modern thing. Napoli is the most famous city for firework, probably. They do every day, for any reason. Your kid go to Paris, he found a job, he did these religious things. There is a party, any reason. The saint, even mafia people, they do this for different reasons. The boss get out of prison, any reason.
So it's anything.
Yeah. But what is interesting that if you see this,
it resembles the explosion of
somehow it's a good explosion of the volcano. There is not a really proof about this, but
it is similar to that and related to that.
Yeah, when you see this under the volcano, generally you have this idea. And I will finish with that.
Amazing.
Napoli is very famous. This is for the New Year things. It's not every day like that. This was New Year things, but every day I can hear it from my house. Okay, the photo were from New Year. Sorry, New Year is like a war, a good war, not a bad war. Even if there is a lot of people dying each year from that, it's quite dangerous. But I will finish with that. Napoli is very famous for the football team. Everyone knows about Maradona and all these things. The people from other teams, they used to sing when they want to be racist against the people from Napoli. They sing them, I hope the volcano will erupt and kill you, or wash you with the lava. You need to wash with the lava. And the people from Napoli, they use the same song. They are singing to them when they win. For example, they won in the last year, 3 years, the 𝐶𝐢𝐯𝐲, that is the Italian national football competition. And the first one, it was I think 3 years ago. It was like the last time it was from Maradona time. It was a lot of time they were waiting. And one of the things they were really singing around, it was these things about how the volcano have to wash me with lava. And it was a way people that are very very ironical. Okay, they know how to be ironic about their own life, and this is what I really love about Napoli. I'm not a football person. I really don't like, but I'm one of the few Italians that they don't go to see any football match. But when Napoli win, I generally go around because it's really kind of.
What is symbol of Napoli? National symbol. What is national symbol of Napoli?
Sirens. Sirens. That now is half fish and half man, but initially was half woman and half fish. But initially, from mythological time, it was half bird and half woman, and after changed to a fish. Let's see if I put. I forgot, okay. I didn't have time. But I had some picture I did with when the Napoli won last time, and they were doing firework and things like that. And generally I say I decided to go to live in Napoli because Napoli is a dyslexic city. It's a city where I feel at home. Because it's a city where people always, if everyone see one thing, in Napoli they see also the other side. And as dyslexic people, generally they see the other side of the same thing. And for this is a city where you can really feel at home because they
you can be odd and still be fine with the people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just the city. You go probably 20 minutes by car out of the city is not the same. And this is the reason because I really believe myself that it's probably connected with the volcanoes because it's not the culture of the region. The region outside is very different. And that's it. That
Thank
was
you very much.
Thanks to you.
It was very informative and very interesting. We enjoyed it. Thank you.
So it's like a city that embraces contradiction.
Yeah. in a very, very interesting way.
Mm.
Generally.